Hello, everybody. It's Charles May, Southeastern Softball Wire, sitting here today on Tuesday, July 14th, with Haley Meinen. Haley is a softball instructor down in the state of Texas, and she's an alum of Tulsa, where she spent 3 seasons there, doing things both ways, pitching and hitting. We spoke before on here about that, but today just wanted to drop in and have a quick chat about the game of softball, what she's seen over the last several months, and we'll go from there. But Haley, how are you doing today?
I'm doing really well. I'm hoping that the rain clears up for the AUSL championship next week here in College Station. And, other than that, it's been a great summer so far.
It is. I saw the rain creeping in down there yesterday in Round Rock as I was watching the Blaze and Volts on TV and was hoping they got through that. They did get through it. 5 inning run rule win by the Texas Volts, who's been on a good streak here now, 3 games in a row, pulled off a sweep of the Blaze. I can admit I didn't see that coming, and I don't think a lot of people did. What do you take from that?
I think that obviously the Blaze started out really hot. Volts can't say the same. But it's really all about who's peaking at the right time. And I feel like they've done a good job of just slowly building up into the success that they've had recently, which is nice to see people just coming together a little bit more. Like the people are stepping up in the right times now, where the Blaze kind of hit the ground running pretty quick, but the Volts have done a good job of just being really steady and not letting that slow start necessarily get to them and learning through that. Because, I mean, with the allocation draft, a lot of these teams are totally brand new. So it was going to be kind of a toss up of what were they going to see? How are the teams going to play together? And I think it's been such a good season for everybody so far.
With it only being a 25 game season, to me, it kind that's for a game of softball, I feel like that's extremely short. I feel like by the time everyone gets real gelled together, it's the season's ending. I mean, and to me, that's a push for more games. I know the fans want to see it, and I want to see it. I mean, even 15 more games to me, it'd be a world of a difference. Do you think that plays a part in how some of these ups and downs go in the season, such as the Blaze starting off hot? Now they've hit the cold streak. The Volts couldn't pull out a win to save their life, and now they've pulled out 3 in a row. I mean, it's just a shame to see what could be for them if they had more time.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to see them play more games. I'd love to see some more teams, of course. I know that's part of the growth plan for the AUSL eventually. I know that that's probably a goal they want to have, but I remember in college like there would be a series, 3 game series where I'd have like no hits and that's a small portion, right? And then you could have take another series or two to kind of get going. I know that some of these players maybe not performing the way they want to, or maybe you're really hot for a couple series and then you dip down, same as the Blaze have. But it makes it hard to really find a consistency because I feel like the batting averages, the ERA, sometimes you could have 2 or 3 bad games and it affects you a lot more than if it was a longer season where you're getting a few more opportunities to make those adjustments and get into those streaks, just like you were talking about.
Yes, certainly. The people have great back. I mean, like Rachel Garcia, for example, which I know she came into yesterday 0-4. I mean, but that's not all on her because at times the offense couldn't, find the last punch, sort of how the Blaze are now. And then yesterday she tosses 5 innings and just blows them away. Had a couple, frames where she had to get out of it, and they did. Um, but she talked post game about, just still trusting in the process and trusting in everyone around them. And it's nice to see her and that team still fighting, even though their postseason shot is dead. They have no postseason, life in them. But to see them still playing, what do you think that says for the pros to show that in this game versus what you may see in other professional sports?
Yeah, I think that the Volts specifically, especially with Rachel Garcia, they have a really good leadership like staple as far as the veterans that are on that team. And I think that speaks to why they were able to come back from, I think they were like 3-7 or 3-10 at one point, and build their way back up to fighting for these games. And I think that a younger team might not be able to build and stay steady with that just because, you get to the pros, you're feeling like you're not doing as well as you want to. And that can weigh on you, especially when some of these girls have come straight from the college season and straight into this. So they've played, since February, and it can be mentally a grind for that. So I think that it speaks to the leadership that they do have on the team. I think that speaks to their future a little bit more than maybe this season, because I think you can, think back to, okay, remember last season, we started out pretty slow, but we built up and we have that success. And like now we understand a little bit more of what it takes, what we need to do to get to the spot where we're on these streaks. So I think it builds a lot of confidence, but I think it stems from the great leadership system, like the veterans that they have on the team.
Yes, great. You're definitely right about that. Great leadership system, the veterans they have on the team. I mean, you got Kat Osterman, who's an all-time great as a GM, and then Ricky Woodard. What she's done down there at Texas State has just been amazing. So the pieces are there, and the leadership is there. I personally, for the votes, I hope they find a way next season to play like this from the jump, because this will make back-to-back years now that they've had the tough season and you know picked up at the last minute when it was too late. And yeah, I mean, they came into the Blaze series 3-15. I mean, 3-15, think about that. Many people would have been like, yeah, they're just going to toss in the towel, but no, they reel off 3 wins in a row. I mean, that's just amazing. I love that for them. um let's talk about pro space period. What are you taking away this summer, and just how, especially the AU, the popularity just continues to rise when they release the numbers every now and then, and just how the viewership and even the jersey sales, like everything is just ramping up. It puts to rest to people that thought, well, maybe last year was just oh, well, look, a new shiny thing. And no, this is getting stronger and stronger.
It makes me so proud of this sport and my friends that are involved in it. I have a couple that play, a couple that call the games. I think it's absolutely incredible. And I was able to go watch my friend Tori Vidales play in Portland for their first home series, and every single game was sold out. Even one of the games that started at 10 a.m. was sold out. And just the amount of girls that I got to see in the stands, taking it in was a proud moment for me. I went to Jimmy John's after one of the games and I saw this girl in a Cascade jersey. So I talked to her, and her mom was just telling me that it was just such a proud moment for her that they walked in, and like just the awe that the girls felt like made her cry, that she was so proud that that was something that her girls could experience and see these professional teams, in their area. And I mean, Oregon really showed up and showed out. I want to say almost all of their games have been sold out. They've played the least amount of home games, I think, to this point, but they've just from that experience, I haven't gone to any other locations this year. I went to Volts last year, but I mean, I went to the record setting one, well, one of the first record setting one in Round Rock, but was so awesome. I mean, it just gives me butterflies to walk in and see, people running over to get autographs from these girls, just like, how we've seen in the MLB for so long, and what you dream about as a young girl, but being able to see that as professional softball players.
Yes, and I agree. I mean, of course, I'm here in Knoxville, Tennessee, so I've not been able to travel out to Oregon, but I've watched a few of their games on TV. I did this weekend, and covered a couple of them just to do it because I love it. And even through the TV, I can hear and feel the intensity of the crowd. I mean, they were living and dying on every call, and it was just felt like a playoff environment. And I mean, that's to me, that just makes everything better when you can feel it and hear it through the TV. I mean, that really says something.
It does. I think they just had such a great environment there. It was. I mean, I think AUSL in general has done such a good job of setting up the environment at all locations. I think Portland especially showed up, but to have like the braid bar for these kids, they love that. It's so cute to see them sitting there getting their hair braided. You know, the kids are running around, they have great merch. I mean, they've done a really great job of like specific player merch. I bought myself a Tori Vidalis shirt. It's in my room right now. I was so excited to see that, and I know that that same feeling that I felt when I was like, oh my gosh, look, there's a Tory shirt. Like I know that that Sam Landry shirt, some kid is like, oh my gosh, Sam Landry's my favorite pitcher, or whoever else is their favorite player, seeing them on a shirt and just getting to wear that around is so awesome. It just makes me so excited because, like I said, I went to the Jimmy John's and I saw this Cascade shirt and this, and they were coming from the game, and it reminds me of what, you know, I would go to Astros games and then you would go out to eat after or something and you'd see people in Astros jerseys and you're like, oh yeah, like we have that same passion, but it's softball this time and it feels just so much more relevant.
Yeah, for certain. Love to see it. I mean, and even, even the kids, even the adults are like totally bought in. You know, I run all of my social media and I have every page, and I don't know if it's a older people thing or what, but I tell you, out of all of my social media accounts for Southeastern Softball Wire, Facebook has astronomically taken off. I mean, in the last month and a half since I got back into softball heavy, I've like almost tripled my following. And every time I post about anything AU, I mean, it's insane how much people are really paying attention. Like they are just all in on this stuff. And I mean, that to me, that's awesome. I mean, I just love that. I mean, because this is what the players and people deserve that are involved in this game, and the ones that came before them, now they can feel like all the work we went through is not in vain. Like everything that the Monica Abbotts and everyone, Cat Osterman that played, you know, in, I won't say yesteryear because I don't want to make them sound ancient, but before before AU came along, now they can say, man, all the blood, sweat, and tears we poured into this game of softball is finally paying off, and our women are getting this shot now post college to do what they love and actually have a legit go at it. I just don't see this train stopping. I just really don't. Um, yeah, so that, I mean, that's awesome. And speaking on Tori Vidalis, I just want to give her a shout out for just continuously battling as well. What do you think about her breakthrough this past weekend in Portland? I mean, she had been through a rough patch, and I mean, then she popped out against the Bandits and had a great series. Have you had the chance to talk to her, and what do you think about just the way she's kept battling through?
Yeah, I work out with Tori, and so I usually see her every day. So I miss her so much in my workouts because I don't have that friendly face. But I haven't gotten to talk to her specifically about softball. When we talk, usually I'm just talking to her about like life and everything. And I did get to go. Obviously, I watched her in the first home series. She hit a home run. I was so excited and I was ready for that to be the spark that she needed. It's not that she like wasn't seeing the ball well. She's making contact and stuff. Just she wasn't getting that lucky where it was falling in. And you know, I know she was frustrated. I am like cheering her on. I threw live to her, or front toss to her, got her ready. Like I know she worked so hard in the off season, and if she could choose, I'm sure she'd be batting 1,000. But it was great to see her finally, you know, break through and have that confidence because she is such a great leader for her team. And I know that her at first base, her leadership skills, just the way that she carries the team through, not even just her performance, is so big. And I know that she just feels so much better, like a weight's lifted, that, you know, she can come through for her team. I think even when she was not doing as well as she'd hoped, she'd come through in some clutch moments where the team really needed her. And even if it didn't come out on, I think, like the batting average stat score sheet, she had the hit that had the walk off run, you know, or just came through in different ways. But I know that she's so happy that she's coming through a little bit more how she wanted.
Yes, for sure. I was glad to see that this weekend. I'm a big Tori Dallas fan, and you know, saw her play last year with the Talons, and she was a big part in that championship team, and now has a chance to do the same thing with the Cascade. I mean, that race is tight. I mean, the last week is gonna be so exciting. There's still a lot to determine here, and I know the Talons have already clinched, but I mean that number one seed is still hanging. Anybody 1 through 3 can snatch that. Just how exciting is that to see this coming down to the end and so much still to decide.
I mean, I think that we saw that with the World Series this year. There was a lot more of that intensity, that interest, because nobody knew who was going to win. Like it could have been a toss up between, I think, all 8 teams that had made it to the World Series. And I feel like it was the first time in a long time where were like, man, like who is going to win? Like there wasn't a clear favorite. And I love that because I think that just brings these fan bases out just a little bit stronger because it's anybody's game. And I feel like that to me as a softball fan just makes it so exciting. Like, yes, I have my favorites, but just not knowing, making it competitive, having good competitive games is way better than, kind of watching a game feeling like you know the outcome already. And
Mhm.
I love I love that it's been so competitive. I think that the allocation draft did a really good job of like evening teams and making sure that everything was going to be really competitive this season. Um, Makes me really excited. I mean, I was going to be excited about softball regardless, but I always love watching good softball. And obviously it's professional softball, so it's going to be good softball, but like really competitive. Seeing the best of the best compete at their best is makes me so excited.
Yeah, it makes me excited too. I mean, I started the season out. I was like, okay, I'm in the Southeast. That's what I rebranded as. I was like, I'm not gonna attack this whole country of softball by myself. So I was like, okay, the Blaze, they're 5 hours from me. I'll cover that team. And then like a couple weeks in, I'm like, I gotta pay attention to everybody. Like it's too much good ball out here not to
Mhm.
pay attention to. I mean, and I mean, this stretch that the Blaze have been on the road, I've been home consistently watching every game just about and jumping in on press conferences and asking questions and doing things like this is just such a great product. It's hard to just say, no, I can't do that. Like, no, I have to do it. I feel like I have to do it. It's just too good. Um, Going forward here, I know you mentioned about the competition and everything, and I just want to throw something out there. We all want more teams. We all want more games. Is there a fear that with more teams and more games that the product as it is now could be watered down a little bit with things continuously getting evened out? Or do you think there's just so many great players out there that I mean they could throw up 12 teams right now when it's still gonna be the same?
I think there's a lot more great players that can make this really competitive. I mean, you have people in the player pool like Lindsey Grine that should definitely be on the team competing. She's got one of the top 5 ERAs. You had other girls like Ruby Malin that's been in and out. Kirsten Roos has been in and out. I mean, there's a lot of players in the player pool right now that I think could make a really competitive seventh team. But I think that the way that they're growing is sustainable. I know that it's building a bigger, better future rather than, trying to do it all right now. And I appreciate that because I want this to be sustainable for the girls that I'm coaching that are in middle school or early high school to be able to play and have a league in the future because 2019 was not a great year for professional softball when I was finishing up. And I really wish that it was an opportunity because I would have loved to have done that, but it just was everything works out the way it's supposed to. And I think that it's so cool to be able to watch this opportunity be such a big deal. And I think they're really doing a really amazing job behind the scenes that people just, the average fan doesn't know about, but they're doing such a great job. And I have no higher praise for anything but like what the AUSL is doing.
Yeah, same here. And you're right about sustainability. I know we all get impatient, but hey, if we're gonna make this last here for, life or however long, to be a sustainable professional softball league like you see other professional sports have been around for ages. Yeah, you gotta play things smart. You can't just jump up and say we're gonna do this big grand thing and then fall on your face because you've moved too fast. So no, I definitely agree with the whole, taking it step by step and making sure that each step is thought thoroughly. I think that's where some other people have fallen and probably still currently are to this day is just wanting to try to do everything at once and trying to be, big me and look at what I'm doing. And next thing you know, your product is not as good or it's fallen. And then everybody's wondering what happened. You don't want that to happen. And with
Yeah.
all the eyes that AU has on it and with all the backing and momentum it has, yeah, I think they're on a great path in doing it the right way. First of all, talk about how you and Danielle came about and about her book and where people can find that.
Yeah, well, this year I got to compete with Danielle in a high rocks, and if anybody's watched Danielle compete ever, you know that she's so competitive. So I worked really hard to do a great job, compete with her. It was so much fun, and I'm excited that we got to do that opportunity together. And then just through that, we got to talking to a little bit about softball, as we are obviously going to do, two softball players, and just, that transition and things. And she started texting me a little bit about just that, people reach out to her a lot about that identity piece of once you're done playing the game, what happens, and just kind of reaching out to her for help. And I was like, man, that was such a tough time for me. I struggled for a long time after playing the game. I just was really down, honestly, depressed with just trying to understand, what am I good at? What do I need to do to kind of get back to that feeling of the joy that I had playing the game, the passion that I had, the drive, the motivation, and just what can I put that towards now? And it's a really tough transition. And I feel like if I could get, we talked about this, like if you could have that perspective a little bit sooner too, like maybe it wouldn't, I mean, it still hurts, but just maybe you'd be a little bit more prepared, or have a better understanding of what maybe you need to do before you're done. Like getting into, like, trying to understand what more you enjoy outside of softball. A lot of times we put 100% into softball, and it's the only thing that you do. And so when you're done with it, it's like, what do I do with my time? But she started sending me the chapters, and I told her, I was like, man, you got to put this out because this would be so incredibly helpful. I am glad that I was healed enough to read that without like absolutely bawling crying, but like tears were shed reading that, because it felt like that moment after, I had my last hit, I stepped on first base for the last time. It was like emotions hit me at full force as soon as I hit first base for the last time. It was like I knew instantly. I mean, the game was like a 1-0 game, but it was the seventh. I was the second out of the last inning, and it just like was heartbreak as soon as I hit first base. And I felt like I can't even put into words what that felt like or how to describe that. But she had written basically that down on paper, and it felt like she was inside my mind, writing down exactly that same feeling, that same heartbreak. And so it was, I mean, I obviously knew that other people felt that way, but it was even hard for me to describe into words. And so being able to see that written down and her describe that in her own experience, but that same feeling, I mean, it was a little more healing for me even. And I know that if I would have read that, you know, 2019, maybe I improve a little bit faster. I think it took me a couple years before I really felt passion for something again. I couldn't even watch softball in 2020, before, COVID happened. I couldn't even turn on the TV and watch it without crying. So I just feel like this book that she's written, she fully just wants to help people uh, get past it, because it's such a hard part of your journey nobody really talks about. They talk about how to get to college softball and the awesome opportunities, just like we talked about today. We talked about the AUSL, and like there's so many girls that don't get to continue playing, or when you're done playing in the AUSL, like you've played for your whole life, what do you do now? um and even if you're continuing in softball the way that we have, it's still just such a different piece. um And she did such a great job of capturing that and just trying to help people. It was I I'm excited. It's on Amazon right now. It's called After the Last Pitch. You should buy it, leave a review. It's truly amazing. I think Danielle is an awesome person in general, and I know that I know her heart is behind it because she just wants to help. She that's a tough it's a tough transition.
Yeah, that's heavy stuff right there. Real heavy and real. I mean, people definitely need to get that book if you're in the game or know someone that's in the game, and because it's always going to come to an end for somebody at some point. But yeah, that's real. That's real stuff. And who better than to read it from than someone that's done it at the highest level and knows what all those feelings are. And I've
Yeah.
always liked Danielle Lawrie. I heard her on a call, AUSL game last week, and I was like, we need more Danielle on these calls. I like Amanda too. I really like Amanda too. We need- yeah, I'd like to get Danielle Lawrie on more calls. I've always been a fan of her and think she's amazing. She keeps it real a lot. I've seen her on other social media platforms and TikTok and things, and I've always enjoyed watching her videos.
Yeah, I mean, that's you get to just hear her personality and learn a little bit about her on social media, but you get to meet her and talk to her and like really get to around her, and she's just even more incredible. You only know a certain percent of her through social media, and she's super awesome when you get to know her and spend time with her. So I'm so glad that we've become friends, and I'm so happy that more people are going to get to experience just that realness through the book that she wrote and try to her impact. I think just with her career in general has been so awesome, but now that she's taken the steps to make an impact even further in people's lives, I think is so awesome. And obviously I love Amanda too. She's great. Amanda does the same thing. Just such a great impact right there. I know that she's impacting so many pitchers and parents and coaches, and um, they're both incredible people. I'm just so blessed to be around such amazing people. Like softball players, of course, talented, but like they're just being around them is awesome. I love just driven people to be around and have that passion for softball that I have. You just like I talked about earlier, it's so amazing. You find your people when you go fully after what you want. And it's like you can be selfish for a second, but when you choose you, then like other people that share the same passion come into your path. It's amazing. It's awesome. I love them both. They're so cool.
For sure, I'm a little envious of you. You got some good, great people around you. I mean, Danielle Lawrie, Amanda Scarborough, friends with Tori Vidalis. I mean, you really
Yeah.
got a great circle around you. I
Well,
mean, that most
I'll
people
add
envy.
my friend Nicole Mendez in there too. Love her. We do lots of camps together. Have awesome people.
You-
I am so blessed. It is
Yeah.
amazing. I couldn't be happier, and it's simply just because they're amazing people. Um, just amazing people, and I love them so much. So I'm again blessed.
For
Amazing.
sure. For sure. So what's life been like for you? I know you instruct, you pitch and hit and teach these young girls coming up in the game. What's it been like for you and um what are some of the things that you've enjoyed over these last several months since we've talked?
I've really enjoyed just getting to call some extra games this year. I've done most of the Tulsa games, and then I got to do a lot of Texas State games this year. I've just really enjoyed that aspect of softball, getting to dive in a little bit deeper and get to see the college game from a different perspective. That's been my dream job since I was in middle school, was to get to talk about softball on television. I get paid to talk about softball, which is amazing. Um, so my goal is to continue to build that up, but that's been probably the most enjoyable part of this year, is just getting a little bit more opportunities in the direction of really my goals and dreams, because I feel like in the past it's been like playing goals and dreams, and now it's like career goals and dreams that I get to keep working towards. And I think every year I just feel like I'm a little bit closer to the things that I want to do and getting more opportunities. It just makes me really proud of like my hard work. Um, I've competed in some high rocks this year, so getting back into some physical challenges. Traveled a few different places. I went to New York and then I was in Washington. So just kind of going coast to coast with different things, and I just have really enjoyed. I think last year I had picked a word of the year, and then this year I picked the word bloom, which is just kind of building on the seeds they planted last year. And I thought that every decision I've tried to make is just taking another step towards, taking the opportunities and making it as good as I can in the year and the time that I have. And I feel like I've done a good job of that. So I feel pretty proud of my few months, I guess.
No, that's good stuff. I mean, I want to ask you a question, mentality wise. How tough is it to build on what you want personally and balance that with people on the outside or others that you are also affecting? I mean, to make this less, I guess, confusing, you have goals, you have things you want to build on in life. You know where you can go as a person, like betting on yourself, and then you have someone or something else that's like, but you could do this here or that there. How tough is that to balance when you have a mindset of, I got things that I want to do and I know I'm good to do.
I think that I mean, I guess as a pitcher, you learn a little bit of this, um, because yeah, you're in a team sport, but at the same time, the pitching position is a little bit more individual, and you do have to count on yourself a little bit more. And I don't want to say it's an individual sport in the circle because obviously you're relying on your team, but a lot of the work that you do is on your own. So you have to learn to really be like good with your own thought process, your own mental game. And I think that's something I did struggle with for a long time, but I've really come to figure out now that I don't want to look back and think that I could have done more. I don't want to think that um there's something I missed out on just because of somebody else that I'm probably not going to talk to in a few years. So, I just feel like to me at this point, especially with the wisdom that you gain after playing softball for so long, just the perspective that you get, hindsight's 2020. I'm not going to leave anything on the table knowing what I know now. Like I want to make sure that if I'm going to fall short of my goals, it's because I gave everything possible and not have held back. I think that's the driving force that I know for a fact I'm going to put my 100% into it, and every opportunity you're getting the 100% best of me. And if I it not accomplish what I want, then it's I put everything for it. And I think that's where my mindset comes from is it makes me okay with it. I mean, I obviously want to achieve it. If I don't achieve it, then that's going to be frustrating, but I can't change anything if I gave 100%. And it's something that I try to teach my lessons to have that mentality, but I feel like it just gets better with practice, knowing that whatever you want, you go 100% at it. And if people don't understand it, if there's people around you that don't get it, then they're not your people. I've met some amazing people, awesome friends, great supporting people, and like the type of people that I'm around now, that's who I want to be around because I've gotten to be around them because of this mentality and they have the same mentality. So no matter what, if you're in that situation where you're feeling like somebody's dragging you down, cut them loose because there's way better people, way better opportunities on the other side.
Definitely. And I feel like I don't I won't turn this into a life lesson show, but I mean sometimes that's good. But I feel like some people are just kind of selfish. It's about what they can get out of you. You know,
Yeah.
you can do what you can do when you believe in yourself, and other people see that as a point to capitalize off of you, but it doesn't really align with what you want to do. How much do you think the fear also of people fearing of falling or fearing of not being able to sustain and support their own kind of enables them to just kind of, fall back and limit themselves by following someone else's plan for you.
I mean, probably the majority, I would say. I think there's a lot of people that are a little bit more timid because they'd rather play it safe than risk it and fall on their face. I think a lot of people, well, I read this book that actually Danielle Lawrie suggested I read because Texas actually read it when they won the national championship the first time, was The Twin Thieves. And the Twin Thieves are fear of failure and fear of judgment. And if you can get past those two failure like fears, those thieves they're stealing from you, then you're in a place to play free or just to live a little bit more free if you want to apply it not to the game softball. But um I think most people still live in fear of those two things, one or the other or both, and it's just not something that I want to let control me. I know obviously nobody's perfect and you have to go through that several times. It's not a battle that you fight once and then oh, you're free of those feelings, but I think a lot of people fall into that trap of the lies that your brain can tell you when you're afraid of failing, when you're afraid of the judgment of other people, when you know the other people that are judging you are probably feeling the same way and they're thinking more about themselves and what other people think than to even think about you and your choices for the most part. And if they are, then man, they must not have a lot of great things going on in their life, right? Like that's the point of haters. They don't have they don't have anything else going on. You're the most interesting part of their lives. So I would ignore them.
Right. Yeah, that's that's real. That's real and good simple way to put it. I mean, you couldn't have said it better. Um, you really couldn't have said it better. Let's hop back into the NCAA real quick before we get out of here. With the whole announcement of the 5 for 5, and you've seen people on X, 27s, maybe 28s, saying that they are involuntarily decommitted. How tough is that? And do you think that's just a phase that will shake out because of the first initial shock wave of this new rule?
I do think the involuntary decommits are the results of this, and like the wave will probably end because then coaches can plan for it. I am not a big fan of the 5 for 5 because I feel like there's a lot of um circumstances I just don't feel like are in the athlete's control a lot of times, and they're not really allowing for that time to like the medical red shirts. They're not allowing for them anymore. I can't control. I was a medical red shirt, so I played technically 5 years. I played four, but like I had 5 years. I will now get technically penalized if I had an injury because now I won't get to play my 5 full years as if someone who didn't have an injury. So now I'm still losing out. So I mean that I just if everybody's getting 5 years, then I want my opportunity regardless of my injury or whatever happened that would cause me to have to sit out. And then I don't know, I feel like I'm also really old school, so I like structure and like the way things were. I like that 4 year situation because that's how it's been. That's how it's been for decades. So you got, records that now you're going to have to say like, well, now up until 2026, this is the record for this. And then after it's like, I just, I'm not a big person on a lot of change. Takes me a second, but I'm not a fan mainly because of my scenario in redshirting. Like I would not have been able to play that year. And I could have come back and played maybe in the last two series, but I would have had to rush my recovery. And I feel like if I was feeling pressured in the sense that I'm not going to get another year, then I might have rushed my recovery. And who knows what happens then? Am I going to be able to play as well even the next year? Because now I'm not 100% recovered. I just think there's a lot of nuances that are going to make decisions or like I don't know. I don't love it, but I think I mean, if I could go back and get 5 years to play, awesome. I'd love that. But I'm not there.
Right. Yeah, I mean that's a tough rule that's gonna take some time to get used to. I know a lot of people are excited about the extra year and whatnot, but I also think it's gonna cause more lawsuits that are already being filed anyway, because there's always someone that's gonna, like your situation, it's gonna be like, well, that's not fair. That's not fair to me because I had to deal with this. And what happens to the person that has 2 bad years of medical, or sometimes people miss multiple years, here and there. They may what about that person? Like I think there's a lot of things that still has to be thought about, and it's going to take some going through the court system and everything else to really shake this out. And I feel like they just made this snap decision like so quickly. I mean, it's like they were on a time crunch to get this done before this year was out, and I just don't understand why they rushed. I feel like they rushed.
Yeah. I mean, I think that they wanted to eliminate red shirts and all that, but at the same time, I just can't see eliminating that fairly. I mean, I do feel like the COVID years were a little bit weird with just I think they have fizzled out fully now, but I think that clouded some of what you're seeing, or you're having like a 6 year or 7th year seemingly. Because with the COVID year and 2 red shirts, a person could have played 7 years, which is a long, long time. But it's not going to be the case, obviously, with the way that the world is right now, just not foreseeing another COVID type situation. But I mean, I could not have controlled. Wasn't in my control about being injured, and I hate to miss out on a full year of getting to play softball when it used to be an opportunity for me to sit that out and still get my full year.
Right. Let's talk about something else on that rule. How do you think that affects people coming out to go pro? I mean, like what does that do now for say the AUSL draft? And, will a person like Tegan Cavan decide to stay another year or something like, anyone? What do you think it does to that side of it?
Well, in Tegan Kavan's situation, I think she did technically graduate. Now she's probably going to be doing her master's. So if she's able to go, and if I'm her, I'm making some NIL money, probably a little bit, maybe potentially more than what I'd make in the AUSL. Maybe not. I don't know the situation. But if that's an opportunity, I think that the way that they're making money, some of these kids in softball, I mean, I would stay, especially especially for those girls that might not have that AUSL future and are getting paid some money to play. I mean, I would stay. That's some of this is life-changing money for some of these kids, and I love that they're having that opportunity for an NIL. Um, but I do think that with multiple more players being on the roster for longer, it may lessen the NIL money that they can give any individual player potentially, because now they're having to pay out a little bit longer to these people. I don't really know the nuances of that financial situation either, and I think that's something a lot of these people are probably going to have to figure out. Um, because they probably were betting on paying this player for only 4 years, and now they're having it same thing with these involuntary decommits. They've planned ahead a little bit on who they know they have coming in, who's going out, and now that's up in the air. So it's going to be a little bit of some growing pains, I guess. But I mean, it just seems to be affecting people from, I don't know, an 8 year span of who could be in college.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot of nuances of all this that it's going to be interesting to see shake out. And yeah, I mean, we just won't know until it happens, I guess. That's kind of the world we live in. You just never know what's coming up. I mean, it's and everybody's just expected to adjust and on the fly and make decisions. And I feel for not like talking about the involuntary decommitments. I feel for the players, but I also feel for the coaches. Like everybody always treats the coaches like they're the bad guys in all this, and like they have to make these decisions quickly as well. It's not like they were expecting all this to shake out, and they have a job to do. So yeah, I don't envy anyone that's having to make calls in this climate right now.
No, I think coaches have the short end of the stick a lot of times, just with everything, with transfer portal, this rule. I mean, it's hard. It's a hard
Yeah,
job.
definitely. Um, Last thing before we move on, a big hot topic, a big controversial topic in this pro game, and I hate bringing up controversy, but it has to be talked about. Karen Weekly, my dear Karen Weekly from University of Tennessee, got on, the chair chat in Portland last week and said that, AUSL was the only league for her. And that ruffled some people's feathers that are a part of the now PSL, which is the new thing coming up. And I've talked to both sides and I talked to players on both sides. And I try to look at it from the player standpoint because to me, that's who ultimately matters in all this. They're the ones that's playing the game, they're the ones that's promoting this game. They're the ones who everybody tunes in to watch. Um, a lot of the players, they want to come together. They want pro softball to last. They don't want to see anything fail because they've worked hard for this and they want to see it continue. What are your thoughts on why people wouldn't want to come together and why there would want to be any competition to try to, I don't know, do bigger than AU? I don't know what the whole goal is. I know it's give more opportunity to play, but I mean, Weekly was like, get behind one league. Pretty much everybody get behind one league, put all your resources into one thing instead of splitting it here and there and so on and so forth. What is your view on the pro landscape and what should be done?
I mean, I don't think that she's wrong in the sense that like it does do more good to go full in on one because it's going to help build one big instead of trying to put two medium together. Um, I understand the PSL and like those players trying to get some extra opportunities because, like I said, 2019 wasn't a great year for pro softball for when I was graduating. So, like these players, they want opportunities to play, but the AUSL only has 6 teams right now, and they only have a certain number of people in the player pool. And you want to be able to go and play, and so there's not a lot of opportunities outside of it just because we don't have like a minor league system. And um like I said, I think that is smart and on purpose because we do need to grow the league to be able to have those bigger teams or potentially a minor league system in the future where people can still play and get ready and then they get called up instead of just kind of sitting at home trying to get ready and then you're on the field the next week. But um I would love to see them come together. I don't think that there's a reason why they can't, other than the fact that they're wanting to grow sustainably. And I think that everybody wants everything right now. We're kind of that kind of culture at this point where it's like, why can't it happen now? But the AOSL is trying to plan extremely smart. And I think that's they're growing in a way that no other league has in the past, where I feel like in the past we've tried to push it a little bit harder than we were able to sustain. And the money that they're allocating for the television rights, I think that's important because we need to have this game on ESPN, we need to have it on CBS, we need to have the game on TV more than I feel like we need to have more teams right now. I think we need people invested so that you have a sustainable audience to grow on rather than trying to build this league without a consistent audience.
Yeah, no doubt. And I love the coverage. It's very, very much needed. I mean, ESPN, the networks, CBS Sports is awesome, and even on the MLB TV and MLB Network. I mean, now you're going into the MLB space and streaming and televising these games. That's huge stuff, and it will only make people pay attention even more and realize that this is real here. Like this is real stuff. Everybody don't get on ESPN, everybody
Yeah.
don't get on these networks. So this is real deal stuff here. And I think that's very important. Um, I know they're growing smartly to sustain this. And My only thing is that when it comes to coming together, is they got the thing right now. I mean, I don't know what goes on in these meetings. I'm not in those conversations or behind closed doors, but when it comes to pro softball, they have it. I don't see anyone triumphing or beating them. You'd have to come with something uh, astronomically, huge, better than what they're doing, and I just don't see that right now. So, in my mind, state of this whole thing is, yeah, why not have those conversations? Let's not be in a competition here. If you really want to sustain pro softball and make it better for the women that are playing the game, then yeah, have those conversations and try to somewhere down the road come together. Just make it stronger for everybody. But even the players see it and they throw out the words like ego, and I think that's the huge one. I think everybody wants to be the top dog, and sometimes they just can't let that go.
Yeah, I definitely feel like when you're trying to change the future for everything rather than just yourself, you have to sacrifice a few things in the short term to build long term. So I think the AUSL is doing a really good job. I want to support pro softball in general, but I think that to be able to be as sustainable as possible, I think that I'd love to see them come together. I think their ability to come together is simply on, money and timing. I think timing is the biggest thing.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see where it all goes, comes up and how it all shakes out. But um, I'm just gonna keep watching and keep supporting. I mean, what's going on right now in this space is amazing, and I just want to see it continue and get better. I would feel so horribly bad if for some odd reason it took a turn, but I don't think it would take a turn for the worse at all. This is just too good stuff here. Too much good going on.
Agree. I agree.
All right, well, I'm not gonna, I don't want to put you on the spot. I know you have an opinion. I know you probably have some in the back of your mind, but who do you think ultimately comes out? I'm gonna make it easy on you. Who do you think plays in the champ series? I'm not even gonna ask you to pick champion.
I want to see the Cascade and the Talons go for it.
Cascade and the Talons. I like that.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
I do like
Want to
that.
see gotta see Tori in the championship again.
Yes, I mean, I do like that matchup. I think that'd be awesome. I mean, yeah, the pitching staffs of both those teams are really really good. I've really enjoyed watching Carly Hoover since she's got back. I mean,
Yep.
uh, yeah, she's one of my favorite pitchers in the league right now. I'm telling you, when she steps in the
Yeah.
circle, I like the way she commands it. I like the way she talks. She's just always into it. I really enjoy watching her pitch, and yeah, the Talons. I mean, Montana, Georgina, Megan, like so they just, yeah. I mean, that series would be amazing.
I agree. Yeah, that's why I picked it. The pitching staffs want to see a good pitcher's game.
Yeah, yeah, and not to mention Kenzie Brown. I mean, the rookie that's came in, and not a lot of people are talking about her, but I mean, both times she's went against the Blaze, I've watched it. She shut them down. So
Yeah,
I mean, I love watching her pitch as well. Yeah, that would be an exciting series to watch. I would be all for that. But
for sure.
yeah, if you have anything else, any last remarks or comments?
No, I'm just really excited that I get an opportunity to talk more about softball. Always fun. So happy that you reached out so we can meet up today.
Yes, and I'm thankful and grateful for you hopping on today. Have this good conversation. This is all off the top of my head. I really didn't even script it. I just feel like I've watched so much softball lately, and I've just had all these things in my mind. So I was like, I'm just gonna go off the top, and we just gonna talk and see where it ends. So, no, I totally enjoyed this, and we'll have to come across again.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, everyone. This has been a Southeastern Softball Wire podcast this morning with Haley Meinen down there in Texas, just talking the game of softball, and want to see it continue on the route it's going. Good stuff. If you hadn't been watching, please start to watch. Keep watching. The AUSL season's coming down to the end now, and it's very exciting. I suggest you tune in. There's a game on tonight, actually, the Volts and Spark down there in Round Rock, Texas. I think you can catch that on ESPN too, if I'm not mistaken. But no, definitely watch and check out the good ball that's going on. Everyone, have a good day.